we started jamming in his house in the living room, and he didn't have a drum set. His dad played drums, but he was just natural drummer, like, you know, always jumping on the drum kit. His dad was like kind of stepbrothers-ish. Don't get on my drum set. So we'd like, my dad's not home, let's jam.
This podcast is about your journey in music, kind of your origin story and what you guys have going on right now with P.O.D.
Yeah, I mean, 20 years celebrating the birth of the satellite record.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Who would have thunk, right? A bunch of San Diego little hood rats are still together, and those songs are a little more relevant, I think, today than they were then.
Oh, dude, I completely agree. It's crazy. It's crazy where the world's at now, right? 20 years later.
Right? It's crazy.
Oh, man.
You know, it just keeps going in circles, and it's like, everyone's like, oh man, it's way more crazy. It's always been crazy, but now we can see it all the time because we're on our phones and, you know, TV. It's accessible. Back then it was like, you know, it's going to show my age, but I don't think it was as soon as something happens, people know right away, like, what's going on?
Seconds, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, first off, were you born and raised in San Diego?
I was.
Okay. Where, Chula Vista? Were you born in Chula Vista?
No, San Diego.
Oh, San Diego. Okay. And then where'd you grow up though?
I grew up in South San Diego, Logan Heights, Chula Vista, and National City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that a little bit. I mean, I'm from San Diego. I know the area, but for somebody that doesn't know,
it's I would say it's like a more of a Hispanic area, like Latinos and stuff, and a little more culturally diverse than I don't know. There's a lot of taco trucks. It's close to
a lot of great Mexican food down there.
Yeah. And then, you know, we're closer to the border.
Sure.
And that's where we started. We started in a garage, and we're a good example of the American dream as far as a rock band goes.
Yeah.
Three to four, you know, 4 dudes just kind of jamming out and trying to become something.
Sure. I used to see you guys. You played Maranatha Church back in the day. Do you remember that? The little skate demos?
Well, dude, we would play pretty much where they let us play. YMCA. We played backyard parties, keggers, garage. I mean, someone's like, hey, and then we started playing, like, you know, they'd be like, you want to play this? Sure, we got a gig. And then we started playing Soma, the first original Soma in downtown. We played the Dungeon. And then once you got 100 people, you would get a main stage show. And our first few main stage shows were with Green Day. Before Green Day, yeah, they were on Lookout Records, man.
Oh my gosh. So you were playing with them like pre-Dookie.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah, man. And I mean, and think about it, the sound, I mean, we definitely have a punk rock energy, but it was they were more, you know, pop punk, and we were more like street punk with rap, hardcore or something.
Or heavier, yeah, totally.
So
wow. Well, how did you get into music? What like originally?
You know what, man? It was a desire that just kind of just dropped into my soul, man. I come from a musically, I guess, like I would say, a musical family. My grandfather was a mariachi.
Oh, really?
Talk about how he got to play for President Roosevelt.
Wow.
He was always gigging, and it's not like I just was like, I'm gonna train and be this virtuoso musician. It was one day, because before that I wanted to be a pilot. That's all I cared about. I'm gonna be a pilot. I'm gonna go to the Air Force. I'm gonna be an airline pilot after that. I had a plan. My friend was super stoked about it. And so one day, I don't know what concert it was. I was watching TV. I don't know if it was Headbangers Ball or Alternative Nation. And they were playing a big stadium, a big crowd. And I was like, actually, that's what I wanted. So my 13th birthday, I asked for a guitar and a guitar amp. And my mom was like, why? Because I didn't really have any friends I wasn't trying to start a band or nothing. It was just all on my own. And she saved her hard-earned money, single mom, and got me a little Gorilla amp and a little Fender Strat like knockoff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty much self-taught. I sat in my room, read magazines, went to shows, and I looked at how different guitar players were doing things live. I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go home and try that when I see how he did that. You know, that's that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just taught myself, got tips from other players, and you know, I tried to do the musical route in school. I was like first chair low brass, but the whole writing music was heart not heartless, but soul. It didn't have enough soul for me. So I didn't really get attached to the whole theory of music. I'm all about the feel.
Sure. And when did you start? You started playing with what, Wuv first?
Yeah, me and Wolf started playing when what's it called? When we were kids, we had a thrash band called Eschatos. I was screaming and singing. Basically, he was doing the drums. We had a couple friends on bass and guitar,
Mm-hmm.
and we were trying to do like a Sepultura Slayer-esque kind of thing.
Okay.
And it ended up being pretty cool. We played some shows, and then there was a scene growing in South San Diego, a band called House of Suffering, another band called Shindig. They were mixing rap with hardcore music, whether it was straight edge, whether it was, you know, punk rock. And we were like, that's dope, because we're from the neighborhood. We like rap,
Mm-hmm.
we like hip hop, but we love punk rock and reggae. So we start talking. We're like, dude, let's switch it up. You can play guitar, do background, but let's get a frontman that can actually rhyme. And I'm like, sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
Sonny, Wolf's cousin, was in like a little rap thing with his friends. And so, what about my cousin? And I was like, dude, he's super shy. And he was like, well, let's see if he's into it. He started showing up to practices, not really saying much, just kind of observing and listening.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, he goes, I got a little something. And then he started doing his thing over it. And we were kind of like, that's pretty sick. And then it just started to grow and grow. And hey, we got a show at this backyard party in Bonita, which is a suburb of San Diego. And it didn't last, man. We played like 3 songs. The cops came and shut it down. But it was fun, man. You know, we were like, this is dope, man. So we started playing shows with the bands that actually inspired us to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That transition from like just strictly metal to you know, to rap and all that stuff. So, you know, there wasn't many bands doing it back then. It was even before Against the Machine. Zach was still doing Inside Out.
Mm-hmm.
And Inside Out was playing gigs with, I'm talking Zach De La Roca from Rage. Was playing with House of Suffering. So we were playing with House of Suffering.
Oh, I didn't realize that he was connected down to San Diego as well.
They would do shows all the time, man. That straight edge scene, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Revelation Records and all that. So pretty cool, man.
That is really rad. Yeah, because you guys started what, in like 1992, 91, 92?
92 official, like, we're a band. But we were playing before that.
Sure.
90, like trying to get, you know, just trying to get out there.
Mm-hmm. And how did you meet Wuv? Did you guys go to school together?
No, I met Wuv because I came from a really a Christian religious home. And my mom, you know, was like, if you're gonna play guitar, you gotta play for the Lord.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, man, all right. So I was the little rebel wearing my Metallica shirt and church. I got my first earring, you know what I mean? And I was just a kid going through adolescence, and my mom would get a lot of flack from all her church friends. Like, how could you let your son do that? So the youth pastor at the time was like, hey man, the way you're going to learn is just get on stage and play for the youth group. And I'm like, dude, I don't know how to play. I suck. So that's how you're going to learn. Stand up there and just do it. So I'd stand up there. All my friends would be laughing, like, look at Marcos trying to do a thing up there. Well, we had a friend. He was like a surfer dude. And he was like, hey, I have a buddy, because I'm going to form my own band, all this stuff. I'm going to make it big. You guys watch and see. And he's all, well, my friend plays drums. I'm going to take you over there and introduce you. Maybe you guys can start jamming. That's how I met Wuv.
Oh, wow.
I have a car, and he he's all, dude, let's jump in. We went over there to Wuv's house. Wuv was surfing at the time, and I want to say just got back. His wetsuit was hanging up, and my first time I was like, hey man, what's up, bro? Nice to meet you. I heard that that you play drums, man. Like, I'm looking to jam, me and this bass player that I was jamming with. And I go, do you like Metallica? Do you like Faith No More? You like Slayer? And he's like, heck yeah, man, AC/DC. Then let's jam. So we started jamming in his house in the living room, and he didn't have a drum set. His dad played drums, but he was just natural drummer, like, you know, always jumping on the drum kit. Mm-hmm. His dad was like, kind of stepbrothers-ish. Don't get on my drum set. So we'd like, my dad's not home, let's jam. So we jammed because dad would be at work. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, you know, his dad would come home early. I told you not to be on my drums and all this stuff. And hey guys, we got to stop. I'd pack up my gear and head home. It was cool, man. And then we just started jamming more and more. And his dad actually embraced us and was very supportive.
Didn't he end up managing you guys in the beginning there?
He started managing us.
That's so funny. Kind of like totally changed his tune when he realized you guys were really good.
Well, he started backing his son, you know, and backing up. And next thing you know, we're going and recording a little demo. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of evolved from there, dude.
That's crazy. And you guys got offered a deal pretty quickly, right? Essential Records.
It wasn't as quick as we would have thought, we would have liked.
Okay.
Like, for instance, when Green Day, when we did that show at the first Soma with Green Day, they got signed by Warner Brothers that night, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The guy that signed them talked to the drummer's dad, Wolf's dad. And he was like, dude, I dig what you guys are doing. I'm just not 100% like sure about the lyrics. You know what I mean? Like, or what Sonny's talking about. So it was kind of one of those things. And we were like, man, if we would have got signed that night too, like that would have been even, we got signed in 97, but didn't put a record out till like 99 or 98. Right. And that was Fundamental Elements of Southtown. Mm-hmm. Think about it. It would have been, dude, we would have got signed then. That was like 93, 92 or 90, whatever it was, but we would have been early on, before the Rages, before all that stuff.
Sure.
It just wasn't our time.
Mm-hmm.
We had to do it the hard way, man. We got in a van and, you know, had to sell ourselves in the sense of like, hey, we're a bunch of dudes from San Diego and we hope you guys like what we're doing. Let's have a good time. Next thing you know, it just started to grow. If we didn't see promise, I don't think we would have kept going. Mm-hmm. So we kept going to places in different cities and seeing, first time we went there, 50 people, 20 people. Next time, 100, 300. Wow. Then it was like, oh, shoot, 500. And we're like, dude, we're a little indie band selling CDs out of our van. Mm-hmm. And we did it up like that, man. And then we got an attorney and we say, hey, man, see if we can get any traction, start tossing stuff around. Labels started sniffing around, showing up at shows. Some people didn't get it. And our A&R rep got it. And we ended up signing with Atlantic. And that was where it all like just blew up, man.
That's crazy. Well, I heard okay. So tell me about this though. I heard that you got offered like $100,000 from a label well, I'm in Nashville now. So like right down the road from me in Franklin. And Sonny said, no, we'll do something there. This isn't the deal. And then you ended up waiting on it and getting obviously the Atlantic.
You know what? The two labels, I mean, there was a lot of them that passed, but the two that I remember that were hot on us at the time was Jive.
Okay, yeah, I remember Jive.
You know, and Jive had Tribe Called Quest, so we were like, dude. So they took us to dinner.
Oh wow!
We went to Ruth Chris. That was our thing. If a label's gonna court us, we're gonna go to Ruth Chris.
Ruth Chris,
steak and lobster, and do it.
Sure.
And then Atlantic started sniffing around, but the A&R rep was flying out to our shows. Like we'd be playing on a Tuesday night in a suburb of Detroit, and there'd be 700 kids there.
Wow.
So they were kind of tripping out on that.
Yeah, like this indie band pulling those numbers. I mean, to this day, that's still huge numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, I mean, we couldn't have done this without our fan base, dude. The whole TRL thing, we were talking about that the other day. We were like, yo, you know what? Our fans did that because back then it was all about calling in and voting for your favorite band. Mm-hmm. And it was real. So we got on there with the NSYNCs and the Britneys and the
That's so
Backstreet
crazy.
Boys.
Yeah, and you guys were #1, right, on TRL?
Yeah.
And that was
It's,
like in the heyday of the Christina
yeah.
Aguileras and the NSYNCs
Yeah.
and all that.
And then you got these dudes from South San Diego.
Was that must have been a trip to see your video and see yourself on MTV?
Dude, it was like for me, the way I explain all that, dude, it's kind of like a hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
Like all this chaos going on, everyone's, oh my gosh. And then you're like in the middle of the storm and it's calm, but you're kind of like trying to just take it all in without losing your mind. Like,
Sure.
oh man, you can go off even, whoa, you know what I'm saying? So just gotta try to be like, and at that young age, dude, you got everyone giving you their opinion on what you should do and how you should be, and you know, all that stuff.
Yeah, and well, it's not even like you guys were in the storm, as you say, when that record came out, when Fundamental Elements to Southtown, and you're on TRL, and then you elevate that to the next level even more on the next record, the one, you know, Satellite. We're celebrating 20 years. You got 3, 4, 5 huge hits off that song where they're just unreal.
Well, you know what? A lot of people don't seem to understand the politics. It's just like I would think in anything else. You can get into the major leagues, or you know, you can become a pro baller, but then once you're in, there's competition for your spot, you know, for your position. Then you got to prove yourself, become a starter. Then you got to keep producing. So I like to compare that to us, because once we got signed, then it was like the big ship of Atlantic, which is part of Warner Brothers, Warner Electra Atlantic. Then you have all these A&R reps trying to get their band all the love within the umbrella of Atlantic.
Okay,
so our A&R reps like, well, check out my band. Then you got another A&R rep who's pushing Kid Rock and Sugar Ray, and they all want the same attention from all the people that work radio at the label, and they work television. And hey, put my band above all these bands. It's political. So that first record, Fundamental Elements Soundset, the angel on our side was MTV. MTV loved us. And once we proved ourselves with TRL, radio hadn't even started playing us yet. Really? And it was MTV, and then radio came later. But we were still playing Ozfest, you know, touring our asses off, one person at a time, and we sold platinum on it with not much radio. So once Atlantic figured that out, they're like, well, hey, if we put a little oomph behind this, then maybe it'll show promise. The numbers are there. You know what I mean? And it happened. We knew right there, okay, this is our spot. This is our time. We got to write some tunes now that we've got to this level that are going to hopefully transcend over to the masses, bro. And they did. Use the Nation Alive. Those are the songs that keep giving to this day, man. We laugh about it. Like those songs, no matter what, people know them.
Yeah, they're hit. I mean, Youth of the Nation was, when that came out, that was a song you couldn't go anywhere without hearing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially from being in San Diego, it was like that was when radio was all over you guys. I mean, Rock 105.3 and 91X were playing that song like religiously.
Well, you know what's crazy we were talking about is like the format was different. We were getting played on alternative radio.
Right.
We weren't an active rock band then. It was weird, but that's the time period that we were in. And it was a trip, man, because now it's active radio.
Sure.
So it's like everything shifted. And on alt radio, there's not much guitar going on.
Right. There really isn't anymore.
It's synth poppy, which was the 80s too. But I trip out on it because I'm like, okay, now we didn't get our #1 hit, surprisingly, until we went to active. Thinking About Forever on a Murder Love record was our first #1. Alive and Youth, they broke top 5, but they never got to #1.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's interesting.
Crazy.
Well, when you guys put out The Awakening, we were playing. I mean, I think 91X has always supported P.O.D. throughout the years. Because I mean, that was a record that had came out when we were doing the Burrito tour and all that stuff.
Yeah. But dude, it's just been a journey. We learned a lot, dude.
Well, I mean, you have what, 10 records? 10 records are out with Circles. And then
yeah, and
tell
we're
me
working on
where,
it.
go ahead.
We're working on something new right now.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
That was my next question. So where were you guys sitting when this whole virus hit? Were you on the road or planning on a tour, or how did obviously that directly affect you aside from now you're stuck inside?
Dude, it was crazy because we played halftime right before the pandemic at a college bowl game over in El Paso. It was Arizona Sun Devils versus Virginia Tech.
Oh, cool.
And they asked us to play the halftime ceremony. And, we did the hits, Boom, Alive, the Nation, packed stadium. And
unreal.
that we were like, we're going to take like, 3-4 months off because we've been touring our asses off all over the world. And I'm all, cool, man, I need it. And during the 3-4 months, we had some shows lined up. I would say that was the beginning, New Year's Eve. Some shows were lined up for April. Well, the pandemic hit and everything got canceled. And so it's like, oh man, a couple more months off, maybe. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, it's a year.
Yeah, now it's 2 years.
And then 2 years. And then you're like sitting there like, what in the hell, man? What are we gonna do if this keeps going on? Am I gonna have to go start another career, which I haven't had a 9-to-5 since the 90s, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
What, like 91?
And I was thinking to myself, what am I gonna do? I'm in my 40s now. Like, and nothing's impossible. It's definitely possible, but it was a trip, man, because made you question. So like right now, we're on our first tour in 2 years. And though in those 2 years, man, like it really checked. You really had to I had to check myself because I think everybody was dealing with it in their own way, but I was dealing with focusing too much on the negative. And I had to be real with myself and go, dude, you're blessed. You got to focus on the positives. Where that's all up here, man, because I know a lot of people were dealing with, depression and a lot of different substance abuse things during that time. And I understand. Because
especially when you're sitting around, I mean, you got nothing going on. I can't imagine being like single and by yourself, like isolated like that.
Oh, dude, you know what, man? See, I wasn't single. I was in a relationship at that time, and it really, you would think I'm going to be home for 2 years. Relationship's going to be awesome. Because I'm touring. You're usually in and out.
Gone, yeah.
It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and so yeah, man, I'm currently single again. So I was like, see, man, it's just one of those things where it's like, well, the universe did what it did, and and now I'm just having a blast out here on the road, bro. So I'm enjoying every little bit of it, man. But
that's good. That's good.
Hey, we're taking it one day at a time because back to what you were saying, like about the pandemic, as far as it being a pandemic, and it's tragic in many ways. We've been a band long enough that when our record actually dropped, the satellite record was 9/11.
Yeah.
And the actual day when that big tragedy happened with the towers and everything, we were happy because our record's dropping that day. And then we wake up, all this promo press we've been working so hard on. And they were like, wow, what the heck, man? World for everybody, including us, upside down. What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, we had a live out on radio, and people needed that song, so they gravitated to that song, and it became like a little beacon of hope for them, dude. So, in that sense, we did our job on the type of band that we've always wanted to be, is inspirational and encouraging people and just providing a little beacon of light during hard times. And the bands that we look up to, like the Santanas, the Bob Marleys, the U2s, that's kind of the approach we take within the genre and what we do. So we're one of those bands that strives on being positive and giving hope, man. So
I was gonna
We,
to
we,
comment
we
on that. So I was just want to say that you with Alive, to be on, my wife was born and raised in San Diego. She was
yeah.
hit by a car at 14 years old, broke her C1, C2 vertebrae on her neck.
Oh man.
14 on September 7th, 2001. And Alive was out on radio at the time. And then when the record came out, like that's like her anthem. That's still like her favorite song of all time because it got her through that whole experience.
So if that time period, that would happen to her during
Yeah, it was 5 days before.
yeah. And it's crazy because we had just done a TRL thing for Carson Daly and MTV at Battery Park, which is right next to the towers. And one of our homies, rest in peace, he's no longer with it. He was like, Marcos, you ever seen the towers this close? And at the time, like we're talking about the hurricane and the whirlwind of everything. I was like, whatever, dude. Like, I don't really care, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's I'm a punk ass kid, early
Sure.
20s, whatever.
How would you know, right?
But he's like, come on, you're gonna regret it. He's like, I end up taking a little walk about 100 yards, 200 yards, and looking straight up right below the towers, going, wow, those things are huge, right? A couple of days later, after press, we're back home. People still call me to wake up. Hey, are you still in New York? You still in New York? Turn your TV on. And I was like, what? No way,
gosh,
man. I was just standing right there. We just played a show at Battery Park right there.
That is crazy, man.
Do you think about that? It's just like, what, dude? So when we're talking as a band, we're like, dude, we're celebrating 20 years of this record. And, the fans are coming out. It's a weird time to go to shows because they got the restrictions and regulations. And there's people that are like not coming to shows. Either they're not vaxxed and they can't prove it, or they're scared to come around and be in a group, a bunch of people, dude. So shows they've been good, but they're not what they could be, what we're used to. We believe because of that. And
yeah, I 100% agree with you.
And we're being told by our agent and our everybody, oh, dude, it's not just you guys, it's a lot of people. And I'm like, well, how come these big, stadium tours look like they're killing it? Well, those were sold
out before the pandemic. Yeah.
I go, well, those people are still showing. Like, yeah, but it's different. They're outdoors. You guys are playing theaters and
or maybe they're not all there. Maybe they just have I don't know.
Well, dude, we did a show that was awesome in Denver. We played the Gothic, right? And dude, we found out a couple hundred people didn't show up.
Oh,
that
wow.
bought tickets. So they just didn't show up. And we're like, dude, that's weird. But I understand because the media and everything that's being told, everything is evolving and shifting and changing like every day. Like, this is new, or Live Nation says this. It's like, we're just like sitting there going, dude, let's just get through this tour. We don't even know when we're going to be able to tour again.
Yeah,
so
dude,
we're chugging along like a freight, but we've been a band so long. We made it through that, through that whole 9/11 thing, and we just kept chugging. We're still here chugging along through the pandemic going, hey, man. And you know what? It's been cool, man, because the fans that have been showing up have been going off, man.
Oh, that's great. So cool. So are you doing Satellite in like an entirety, or
we're tapping into our inner Pink Floyd? Yeah,
okay.
Dude, we're doing from front to back.
That's so cool.
The only downside of that is that I don't know if you remember back in the day, Sam Goody, Tower Records, they had listeners for CDs with headphones.
Sure. And Blockbuster Music and all that.
Yeah. and the crazy thing with that is we strategically put our best songs up front on purpose. So when people pop the CD in, they're like, oh yeah, I know this. Oh, I know that song.
Oh, that's brilliant.
But dude, that was part of our A&R rev. Everybody was like, dude, you got that. So then when we listen to our record, all the hits are at the beginning of the album. So
all the ones you usually save for like the encore.
Yeah. So the middle to the end is all deep cuts. So we're like sitting there going, damn, man, you can tell in the crowd who listened to the radio and listened to the album to a certain point.
And who
to the people that were actually
actively loving it all the way through. Oh man, that's funny though. Well, that's rad that you're able to celebrate. I mean, I know it's been a weird time, but 20 years, 21 years on that, or 20 years on the record, and obviously over that on as a band. That's such a huge accomplishment.
I mean, I told people all the time, I'm like, dude, I don't even know. We could have never guessed that we would be here 20 years later talking about this right now. Like, dude, we're so stoked. We're like, dude, I'm glad that we can still do this, man, and still go around the world. As soon as they hit that note on Youth the Nation, regardless of culture or language, it connects and they sing the lyrics, and they don't really speak English. So it's pretty rad, dude.
That's so cool. What a special time. I mean, that's amazing. I'm curious, you said that you guys have been working on some new music. Was that something that started in the midst of the pandemic, or were you guys?
I'm a little disappointed in how unproductive we've been, because we have been doing that, but it's not where I think. I told the guys, I go, dude, we should have had a couple records done during this time, and been like, dude, we got a couple records in the vault already.
Right.
Not my band. You know what I mean? We were just spending time with family and, you know, just enjoying our time home. But
yeah, I mean, you got 10 records out, man. And like some people weren't that inspired during the pandemic, because it's like, how you're not out living life, really.
Exactly. So. Well, the beginning of the pandemic was rough, because that's when everybody was like, they didn't know what to expect. Everybody's like, you got to stay in your house.
Right.
You know, go to the store, grab whatever you need, and go. And then there was nothing.
Get the hell out.
No toilet paper, no nothing. I was like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm glad everything that you guys are able to, like you said, keep chugging along and continuing this tour, and can't wait to hear the new stuff. And thank you so much for doing this, Marcos, man. I really, really appreciate it. I've been a fan of your band for a long time.
It's good to see you too, man. I totally remember you too now. It's like, dang. You know who lives in Nashville now? Traa does.
Does he really?
Yeah, he moved over there a few years ago, man.
Wow, I didn't realize that, because he was living in Escondido, right? Okay, that's cool. Do you guys come out here very often, or no?
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, with the band, I do.
Sure.
And because you know, I do some producing and some songwriting. I've gone out to Knoxville, Nashville. We're working with other projects, but I'll stay for a little bit. You know,
keeping it. Are you still in San Diego then? I would imagine.
Oh yeah.
Okay. It's hard to leave, man. I was there for a long time, and then.
Well, did you move because of because Traa was like, dude, it just makes more sense on paper. It's not. He goes, I miss San Diego. It was like a financial decision. He's all, I want to come back. It's just right now I'm gonna go do this, build up certain thing over there.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. Yeah, you know what I mean. I love San Diego. Both my wife and I are born and raised there, so it's not like, and we still, our parents are still there. My sister, her brother, it's like our whole family's there. But you know, we can always make the trip back.
Well, they always got that direct flight, right? American Airlines.
Oh yeah, it goes right there. It's not too hectic. And
nah, I've done it a few times.
So
I meet some cool people every time I'm there, dude.
It's a fun town. It's a really cool town. I didn't know what to expect when I moved here. I thought it was like a big country music city, but it really isn't. I mean, it's got everything here.
Yeah, I always end up at the Red Door.
Okay, yeah, that's a great place.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Well, that's awesome. Well, again, Marcos, thank you so much, man. I have one more question for you, if you have a second. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah, I do, man. You got to do it 150%. And there's gonna be people that say no, and there's gonna be people that knock you down. You just got to keep on believing in yourself and say yes, and you got to do it 150%, no matter all the negatives. Keep chugging along, because that's how we got here, and we're still here. And when you look at the people that we started with in that scene from our like when we were on top of the world, MTV, all that. Most of those bands aren't even around anymore, dude. So it's like, we're still here, and we like to consider ourselves a blue collar rock band. And we're like a freight train that keeps chugging, man. And just don't give up, and just believe in yourself 150%. And if it's meant to be, the universe will align the stars for you, and it'll happen.